afternoon, viewers. Welcome back. RGV Guardian, Steve Taylor. Su servidora, Mari Regalado, la mujer del pueblo. I would like to thank our young technicians, Fred Sandoval and Lee Ramirez, from Vanguard High School. It is my pleasure and my honor to greet and welcome, of course, Hidalgo County Judge Richard Cortez. How are you, Judge?
I'm doing very fine, Mike. Good afternoon.
It is my pleasure. How are you today?
I'm doing well, thank you. A little cold, but I'm doing well.
I know we weren't able to do our live stream interview because you had you tested positive for COVID, or you just got close to somebody who had COVID.
No, I tested positive for COVID, unfortunately for the second time, but the good thing is I'm fully vaccinated, and it was a very mild symptoms.
Gracias a Dios.
Gracias a Dios.
I know this is part of our Meet the Candidates series, and you probably want to talk about your campaign for re-election. However, so much has happened in our county since you became our county judge. A hurricane, the worst pandemic in 100 years. And times Hidalgo County had been the front and center national coverage with COVID-19. So, Judge, can you please tell our viewers the severity of the pandemic from the county administrative perspective, and also where were the darkest moments?
Sure. Well, it started back in March of 21 when we knew that the pandemic or the virus had hit the United States. It hadn't affected us yet, and on March 21st, we got our first positive test, which was a young girl that had gone to Las Vegas with her boyfriend and came back, and she worked at a doctor's office of all places, and she was our first person that tested positive for COVID, and obviously all of this was due to all of us. So we were looking at the Center for Disease Control pretty much as guidance, and the medical people for guidance, and we were just hoping for the best, but expecting the worst. Very quickly, we started to see infections, and I took the advice of physicians primarily. It was a little scary, Monty, because when you have 30 doctors show up at your office, they're all very busy taking care of patients, but when 30 doctors leave their patients to come and talk to you and tell you and advise you that this is very serious and that you have to take the necessary action, to stop it, to slow it down. I mean, they called my attention. It was serious. So we managed it very well. I'll try to speed up here. We managed it very well, and by the end of May, I had told the audience or our people, to expect a tsunami, and I wanted to get their attention. I wanted them to know that this was a serious thing. So I was being criticized by that, well, where's the tsunami? We didn't have that many people in the hospital. We didn't have that many people being infected by the late of May, but then the governor came over and opened up Texas. And you asked me what was the worst time for us. Well, it was July. It was the July subsequent to the governor opening up Texas. I mean, we were putting 40 people in refrigerated trucks a day. So that was pretty scary, but thank goodness, we're here today, and unfortunately we've lost over 3,000 lives, and businesses were hurt, businesses got closed, people lost their jobs. It hasn't been a fun time.
Right. You have not always been on the same page with our state leadership. When it comes to the pandemic, is everyone now on the same page?
Well, not really, because we're using COVID pretty much as a political football, because we're using it for ideology about why are you taking my rights away and this kind of stuff. So no, I think there's still varying opinions about how to manage COVID. Thank God this last variant here is more contagious than the other ones, but it's less toxic. So hopefully we'll be in the endemic part of the pandemic.
Is the general public getting consistent and uniform advice in reference to this?
Well, that's the problem. I receive a lot of information from many sources, that say contrary, that masks don't work, vaccines don't work, they're going to cause you more problems than others. And the truth is that you're going to find all kinds of information from all sources. But I'll tell you one thing, I have my mask, and for years and years and years, you cannot go to an operating room without everybody in the operating room wearing a mask. So if that doesn't tell you that they're there for a reason, I don't know what is.
How is the county doing now with regard to the pandemic?
Well, I mean, amazingly enough, I think we're doing well. Our economy has been very robust. If you look at the sales tax numbers for all the municipalities, they're going up. Real estate is going crazy. I mean, we're putting in 1,000 new lots almost a month, and just in the rural areas, much less in the cities. So I think we're holding on, fairly well. To be honest with you.
Do you need more help, or do we need more help from the federal or state government, or is it now a case of the public needing to show self responsibility?
I think it's a combination of both. I think people need to be responsible for themselves. I think that it's like anything else. I mean, would you walk into a highway with cars coming? Well, no. Well, this is no different. I mean, this is a danger there, and we can't let ourselves jeopardize ourselves by putting ourselves in where we can hurt other people. And I think government should be doing a better job. I told the governor, I said, Governor, for me to send out a message as to to our citizens is one thing, but if all the citizens of Texas are listening and hearing the same message, I think it'll be more effective because everybody will be saying the same thing and following the same protocols. So no, I think government, both federal and state, could do a better job in helping us educate and prepare the public for this situation.
Judge, I want to go back to, and I've always said that sometimes, my the people that come here for a live stream interview open the door, and you opened the door stating that you had doctors calling, hospitals calling probably in reference to 40 people dying a day. How did you feel, Judge? I mean, none of us has ever lived through a pandemic, obviously, because none of us are over 100 years, and especially not you and I. But what did you feel when they would call you and say, we need more, or we need refrigerators to put the people that passed away? What did you feel as a county judge? Can you tell our viewers?
Well, it was a very difficult time because no matter what decision I came up with, somebody would disagree with it, somebody would agree with it, and everybody in between. But I was never concerned about what the public was going to think about my decision. I was more concerned with trying to make the best decision that I could. And in all cases, I wanted to use science to help me make those decisions. So I looked very much at past trends. I would follow what other areas were doing and the results of the practices that we're having. And of course, I was listening, to my own doctor, Melendez, which I think he's an outstanding physician. I just marvel at the knowledge that he has about this thing. But there were very difficult times because, people were dying, and I saw the desperation. When I was there in the hospital myself, being treated for COVID, I mean, I heard the screams. I heard the screams of people saying, "I can't breathe, help me," and the danger that our healthcare providers were going through to put themselves in that environment. And so these were very difficult times, and these are not times to laugh about or criticize, people that are out there trying to do a good job. This is a time that we all come together and try to make the best we can of a difficult situation.
When the county received stimulus funding to deal with COVID, county commissioners had to change the distribution formulas following criticism from some local mayors. Some cities are still not happy with the allocations they received from the county. Can you respond to this criticism?
Thank you so much for asking that question. I'm going to try to give you the best and the simplest way to explain our position and why we believe that we were right and the cities were wrong. I have two hands, and in one hand is the money. I'm holding the money that we receive because of the people living in municipalities, and this was 75% of the money that we received. On the other hand, we received the same amount of money per person of the people living in the rural areas. So together, we received $151 million based on $175 per person. The cities wanted $175 per person for us to give it to them. He said, "That's how you got it. That's how we want it." Well, Marty, look at this. Okay, if I take the money that the cities wanted at that amount, what is the county left with? I'm left with the money that belongs to the people in the rural areas. Well, with this money, I'm supposed to go retrofit the courthouse, our jail, our emergency management, take care of health department, taking money from the people in the rural area. No, we said, no, that's not right. So let's bring the money back, and only an idiot spends all their money. I said, let's put 10% aside because we don't know what the future's going to bring. Let's not spend it all. And give us sufficient money. We get some from the cities, we get some from the rural areas to retrofit our jail, retrofit our tax office so we can conduct county businesses. And then whatever left, we'll give it to you on the basis of a pro rata share. That's what we did. The second thing that we were criticized with, and one of my opponents brought it up, and he said, "Shame on you." Well, I expect that of a young girl that's inexperienced, to really not know what she's talking about. When you have a small cities, remember the money that we got had requirements. Just because we got the money or received the money, I couldn't just spend it. I had requirements as to how to use that money. So if I'm responsible for it, and I let you take some of my money, I'm still responsible for whatever you do with that money. So if you're a small city and you don't have the accountants, you don't have the lawyers, you don't have the infrastructure to help you use those funds properly and correctly within the rules, then you're going to be in trouble and I'm going to be in trouble. So what we wanted to do is to say, look, small cities, don't worry about you getting into that regiment. We'll handle it for you. We'll be kind of like the franchisor. You're a franchisee. We'll help you with that. Obviously, that didn't happen. They misunderstood what we were trying to do. But today, if you were to tell me, would you do something different? No.
Thank you. Anything else you'd like to say about the coronavirus?
No, I think based on my discussions with all the medical people and whatever, we believe that hopefully by March, maybe by the end of March, we're going to be seeing a real decline. So that's good news.
That's good news. Another topic that means so much to our community across the county is the drainage. What is the county doing about the drainage, and when can the public expect to see improvements during severe weather situations?
You're seeing it already. You're seeing the improvements already. Thank goodness our citizens gave us $190 million for a bond issue back in 2018. And what the county did, and I wasn't there, and 3 commissioners weren't there. The only one left that was there was Commissioner Cantu. What they did is they got together with all the municipalities and they tried to identify all the areas of need and try to go to the areas that needed the most help. And they came up with 37 projects. Today we've only completed 19 projects. One of my opponents says, "Hey, you're too slow. I mean, why aren't you doing it any faster?" Well, come in and tell us how to do that. We're doing the best we can because we have to, conduct business with certain restrictions. We have to, hire engineers. We have to hire contractors. We have to supervise things. So it takes a little time. But I'm going to tell you what. We've never received this many inches of rain as often as we've received it in the last couple of years. And our system is working because there's nothing we can do when 12 inches of rain fall. You're going to have flooding, and I don't care what kind of drainage you have. Drainage means that once you get that water, then it drains out. So we're seeing that the system is working because the waters that are coming in are leaving. One of the things that we're seeing though is because we're being urbanized, a lot of our areas are being urbanized with development. If there was a 40-acre plot of land and it had a little indention and the water would come, well, the water would be there for a while and then it would recede or evaporate. Well, somebody came in and bought the 40 acres, and now they filled it with dirt, and now there's houses. So when it rains, the water that used to stay there now is going somewhere else. So how do you design and how do you prepare for situations like that? So if somebody has, and I'm laughing because if somebody thinks that they can just come in and says, I'm going to fix your drainage problems, well, not only do you need $2 billion, you need more time and science to help you do that. You're not going to do it right away.
Right. The new county courthouse, there's a lot of excitement among the staff that you will have a state-of-the-art facility. But when will it be ready and will it come in on budget?
Well, no, it won't come in with a budget. We originally, or the thought was back, when the other administration was here, that the courthouse would not cost more than $150 million, and that the city of Edinburgh was going to participate in helping us with $30 million of that 150. I can tell you that that's not happening. The number is more like $181 million, and the city of Edinburgh is not participating with the 30 millions. So it's a big challenge, but it's a challenge that we're going to compete and meet, and the courthouse will be completed and finished, and it'll be operable. It's an amazing thing. It's like going into the pyramids. I mean, it's huge. It's huge. We think that it'll be ready probably maybe around the latter part of May is where we're thinking it'll be completed.
Thank you. An awkward question for any political official in our county, but one of the public and taxpayers would like to know, and I'm addressing it, is corruption. News stories about corruption by elected officials is a black eye for our community. Does the perception of the reality of corruption impact potential investments, and how do we clean these things up?
Well, you've asked me two questions at the same time, so I'll answer the first one. The answer is yes. Corruption hurts us because who wants to go into a corrupt environment? Nobody wants to invest money where they feel that there is corruption. So yes, it impacts our ability to attract investment. How do you clean it up? Well, you clean it up. I'm a forensic accountant. I can tell you that fraud or corruption occurs when there's opportunity for you to do it. In McAllen, where I come from, we have very good systems of internal control in place. We used to have somebody that would go and ask for 10 gallons of gasoline when they needed 3 gallons of gasoline to mow a certain pasture that we had. Well, they would put the other 7 gallons in their car. Okay, well, we finally found out about it. So now when somebody comes and says, I'm going to go mow this field over there, we know that all they need is 3 gallons. So what have we done there? We've taken the opportunity from doing that. When we have an audit committee to review the risks that we were having, we found out that the biggest risk we had in McAllen was the bridge, because they get cash, they receive cash. So we put a meter so we would know how many cars were passing by. Well, guess what happened? There was a sensor on the bottom that would read the cars. Well, guess what they did? They put a steel plate over it, okay? So what did we do? Well, now we have video cameras. So you see what I'm doing? What we're doing is we're eliminating their opportunity to take advantage of a system. So if you want to stop corruption, then have good internal controls in place. Because human beings will always try to do funny things.
Thank you. International trade. You have made the case that our region can benefit from the disruption of supply chains in the Far East, and we can benefit from bringing in such trade via seaports on the Pacific side of Mexico. Where are those things on?
Well, thank you for asking that question, and I'm glad somebody was listening and somebody paid attention. If you look at the United States, the majority of Americans are really right or to the east of the middle of the United States. 1/3 of the imports are coming on the west side through California ports, which are basically coming from Asia. So to transfer all those goods to the East Coast, where most of the people are, once it gets to California, they're still going to have to transport them either further east. So what I think we could have an opportunity is if those containers would be rerouted to Mexico, like Mazatlan, kind of that area right below Baja California, and we would work a deal with Mexico where there would be a rail system to transport those products through rail to us here. Then the entryway to the United States will eliminate that half. I mean, you're substituting it with part Mexico, but it can become more efficient if it's coming to us. We think that is an opportunity. It's a long-term opportunity, but a journey starts with a beginning somewhere. So you have to start somewhere.
That's right. Do you think state and federal leaders understand the importance of U.S.-Mexico trade and the commerce, the way our businesses, our community, and our region does? And how do we address it?
I think obviously some do, but some don't. When you consider that most of the senators and most of the congressional people are north of us, because we only have basically 4 states that are in the southern border. We understand the southern border. We understand the economic impact that our trade has with them. But if you live in Iowa or some other places, it's hard for them to understand, how important Mexico and all countries south of us are to our economy. Many jobs in Detroit, many jobs all over the United States are really dependent on the trade that we have with Mexico, and it all flows through us, through here, through the south.
Through our valley. Now we're going to get to your campaign questions. Why are you running for re-election, and what are the top issues you're running on?
Sure. Well, Manny, when I didn't run for re-election for mayor, I've been married to my wife for 48 years, so we wanted to enjoy life together. Well, I lost her. So when I lost her, I said, well, I have time and experience that's available, and someone said that what good is to have knowledge and skill if you don't use it to help others. So I said, you know what, I want to go back and try to be a public servant and serve the city of McAllen. So I ran for city commissioner. When the opportunity came that Ramon Garcia decided he was not going to run, I waited to see if other qualified people were running, and there was an opportunity for me to run. I ran, I won, and all of a sudden, 1 year and 2 months after my term gets started, as I was trying to learn and trying to implement some of the ideas I had, the pandemic hits. Okay, so a lot of my time was dealing with the pandemic, but so I have projects that I want to complete, and I feel very confident that with additional more time we complete those projects. So I've just simply run out of time, and I'm asking the public to give me 4 more years. There's basically 5 goals. I think that we need to become a healthier community, and I'll tell you why that's important. Well, if you're not healthy, you're not having a good quality of life. And unhealthy people, and if you're in poverty and you're unhealthy, it's a big expense for government, because we as a county, we have to help those people that are indigent for health care, and we need to do that because they have no other choice. So the healthier we are, the less economic cost we have. So obviously it helps us from a quality of life perspective as well as a financial perspective. So I think that's a good goal to have. The second one is, and we started having the conversation, is, we need to attract investment here. We need to diversify our economy. We're basically a service economy now. We came from an agrarian economy. We moved into a service economy. Our jobs are in retail, government, and healthcare. Well, we don't produce something. Someone said, if you don't produce something, you don't have a good economy. We have to produce something. So in order for us to do that, we need to attract investment. The third goal is really to perfect ourselves and provide quality services, to our people. We have to be better in all the services that we provide. The fourth one is to reduce poverty. 40% of our people are in poverty. That is 150% more than, or actually almost three times the national average, and twice the state average. That is unacceptable, and we need to do something. The last thing is, I learned that working together, we all talk about it, we all say it. It really works. I mean, we saw us working with volunteers, the city, the schools, the county, to test people for COVID, to vaccinate people for COVID. And whether I went to precinct 3, precinct 4, precinct 1, precinct 2, it was efficiency at all levels, and it was just because we were all working together to solve that problem. So we need to continue with that. We need to continue with that effort. Let me give you an example of one of the things that I want to do. Let's say services to veterans. If you call me at the county and everybody in the county is calling me for services for veterans, I'm going to have it like an hourglass. I can only put so much in an hourglass. But if we say, okay, wait a minute, now where are you located? Well, I'm located in McAllen. Well, I'll tell you what, why don't you call the McAllen office, and they have a veteran section in McAllen. So we'll provide all the information to the city of McAllen to serve the veteran. This way we can be more efficient, that we divide the responsibility among most of us in the cities. I think that would provide better services. So as we're doing that, we can do that with animal control. We can do that with public safety. We can do that with a lot of things. So I'm really looking forward to creating that network between our county, our schools, and our cities.
Excellent. What are you hearing from voters as you campaign across the county?
Well, nobody wants their taxes to increase. Okay, that's the number one. And obviously, a lot of people in the rural areas are concerned with lighting in their colonias, are concerned with safety, vandalism. That they don't have, the protection that some of the municipalities have, and they're looking, for economic opportunity. Those are pretty much, what I'm hearing from the people.
We've asked you this question before, but I want to ask you this same question. Do you have any special message for the communities in the east and west of the county? Do you feel you represent each part of the county fairly and equitably?
Absolutely. We're very blessed that we have 4 excellent commissioners in each of the precincts. I see them really caring about doing their job well, really caring about improving everything within their precincts. And when we sit down as a commissioners court, we get along very well together because we all understand which each commissioner is going through, and we always try to help that commissioner, to serve their people. And if you look at how we allocate the funds, they're pretty well allocated evenly throughout the four precincts. So I would say absolutely. I have not seen any disparity in between the 4 precincts.
Anything else you'd like to say?
No, other than thank you for asking me these questions. To me, I'm an incumbent. I have a history. You can judge me for what I've done or what I haven't done. And when we were meeting with the mayors and we were meeting with everybody, we would have Zoom meetings, and I had 2 questions at the very end. After we discussed an issue, we had 2 questions. Okay, because as my wife would tell me that I wasn't perfect, and I agreed with her that I wasn't perfect. I would say, okay, guys, or ladies and gentlemen, am I doing something that I shouldn't? Please tell me today and now, and let's discuss it. And if all of us agree, then I want to stop doing something that I shouldn't. The last one was, should I be doing something that I'm not? Okay? And I believe that the aggregate wisdom of more is better than the wisdom of one. So when somebody says that I am not reaching out to people, I am not asking people, I'm not having people on the table, that is truly untrue. On the contrary, I welcome that because it makes me better. So I welcome that to do that. And I'm seeing more cooperation. There's always, some jealousy as to, who's better than others or whatever. To me, thank God my parents didn't make me like that. I want to be part of the solution, not part of the problem.
Thank you so much, Judge, and we really appreciate it. Viewers, thank you so much. RGV Guardian, Mari Regalado, la Mujer del Pueblo, and I will see you very soon. It was amazing. Thank you so much, Judge.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.